Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper Podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I want to remind you that I'm running a 5-part workshop series called The Blueprint Path to help you start, grow, fix, and scale your bookkeeping practice. Now, I'm running this in early November. It's free. You can attend live and get coaching with me, or you can receive day-by-day videos. My intention is that this is 5 steps, 5 days of high value content, once again, to help you start, grow, fix, and scale. Now, the link to register is in the show notes. You can also find it on my website, the strategicbookkeeper.global, under Work With Me free workshop. This workshop series is designed to help you plan for success and implement what you learn in 2026 and beyond. So whether you're a startup, growing, booked but broken, or scaling, I am going to show you how to start strong, fix what's not working, and scale fast into a thriving practice with raving fan clients, plus the income and lifestyle that you want and deserve. Now, if you know me, you may know that this is what I'm known for, helping bookkeepers to optimize their take-home pay while working less. For example, one of my clients dreamt of a full-time salary while working part-time hours. She's a mum and she now takes home $140,000 a year, but only works 15 hours a week. Now, another one of my clients went from startup to 200,000 K in revenue in just over a year, and she's now working to scale up from that. You can actually hear her story on episode 125. This is the kind of transformation the Blueprint Path is all about. So I'd love it if you would register and come along so I can help you too. The link to register once again will be in the show notes, but also on my website under the Work With Me section under free workshop. Today's podcast is Michelle Irwin's story, a growing bookkeeper inside the TSB tribe. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice 6-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program, and my impact globally. The Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group, or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. All right, let's jump into it. Welcome to the podcast, Michelle.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for popping my podcast virginity.
Love this. Oh my goodness. We were just talking about the fact that I don't know for our listeners if you've ever guested on a podcast, but the hardest question to answer is the welcome to the podcast. Even for me, I always trip over my words when I'm on somebody else's. All right, let's get cracking into today's podcast. I am really looking forward to this interview because I don't always get the chance to sit down and have just a nice conversation to dive into all the things with my clients, with my tribe. Absolutely. In coaching, we go into things, but not like we're going to today. So I'm really, really excited. On that note, we're going to start by asking Michelle just to tell us a bit about herself and her backstory and whatever's in her heart to share. So go for it.
Okay. So I guess going way, way back, I grew up under the poverty line. So I've had a poverty mindset for a long time, had that thought that I needed a safe and secure job my whole life and have always worked for other people. And about 2.5 years ago, roughly, I started working for my previous boss, Kiri, who owned a bookkeeping company called K-Books. And I loved it. It was freedom. She understood my health concerns. She understood problems that I had with endometriosis and needing some time off in the middle of the day if I needed to have a nap and all that sort of stuff. And she got to the point where she was a little bit burnt out, a little bit tired of being in bookkeeping and wanted to step back, and kind of said to me effectively, you can buy the business or it will get sold to someone else and who knows who your boss is going to be. And it kind of, I guess, struck that realization and that knowledge that even a secure job isn't necessarily secure. And the promise of a regular paycheck it's a bit of a false sense of security, kind of, like the seatbelts in the sky on airplanes and that sort of thing. So I took the jump and I decided that, I would prefer to be in business for myself and set my own hours and set my own times and not have to go back into corporate. So I agreed to purchase the business, and with not a lot of capital, but a lot of faith and her help, I've gone into vendor finance for it. And I have loved every minute of it ever since then, being able to transform the bookkeeping company into what I want it to be, moving it from a bit of a reactive to more of a proactive service, and just being able to work with a lot of clients and know that I'm helping them out.
Oh, yes. And what year was it that you started working for her?
It would have been 2023.
Okay. Then when did you officially, under vendor finance, take over the business?
February this year. So 7 months ago.
Wow. I read Feb 2025. Wow. So, new as a business owner as such.
Yeah. So moving very, very quickly from the employee mentality to the entrepreneur and business owner mentality. And it's, I think, helped give an insight into the way that our small business clients feel as well, because, I sort of said to my husband when we were talking about whether or not to take the risk, because it would mean a lowered salary for a little while. And, there was the risk that the whole thing could fall over and all of the clients could leave the second I took over. It was lessened by the fact that I knew them already, but there was still that risk. And I said, I have spent my entire career, the last 3 decades, making sure that no one else's business fell over. Why is it any different if it's my own? Except that I get to take home the benefit.
Yeah. Wow. This is amazing. And there were so many things I could relate to. I mean, I really did this for the same reasons as you. It was health, understanding my health needs. If I was feeling like crap with pain and fatigue, that I could actually just stay in bed. It was a freedom, flexibility. It was, I feel like I'm awesome, right? You're awesome. All the bookkeepers I meet are awesome. And I think the other thing is, because I was always a star performer at work, I wanted to get paid for my impact rather than hours, because I'm like, I do 3 times the work and get the same hourly rate as everyone else.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, the few times that I was like, no, I need to take it easy and work in an easy job because I need my health to be the priority, then I've sat there thinking I'm not giving the benefit that I could give for the money that I'm getting. So I need to find a new job that I can contribute. I need to help. If I can't help, I don't feel valuable in a company. And that's where this is helping, I guess, the maximum amount of people I can rather than my business.
And you being one of those people, the Kabali and the oneness. Yeah. We're here to serve everyone, and we are one of those everyones.
Exactly.
Okay. So now the next thing I would love to know is, how did you find me and TSB?
I couldn't say exactly. I know that sounds terrible, but I do remember seeing your name a lot through the Bookkeepers in Support, I think it is, Facebook group.
Yes.
Seeing it around there a couple of times. And I think I'd seen it once before that you were doing it. And then I saw the free Busy But Broken reset
challenge
in June, and I went, June, it's the worst time to be doing this, but it's also probably the best time to be doing it, because I need to try and get into that right mindset. And I don't have a lot of support around me. I don't have a lot of entrepreneurs that I know. I don't have that sort of network behind me to help prop me up on those days where things are a little bit harder, or, you just feel like you're not growing enough. And even knowing how to grow and how to build that network and how to find the right clients. It's a bit of a mystery when you're the sort of person who hates marketing yourself and feels like talking yourself up is kind of a bit egotistical, even though it's not, because you've got the skills there to back it up.
Yeah, I hear you. I've just been sharing my story again, and I was, like you say, talking about yourself, being proud of yourself, which doesn't always go down that well in Australia. And luckily with the majority, with the majority it does, but there's this minority that are really prickly and can be very nasty. So, okay, for everyone listening, Michelle met us then through Busy Bookkeeper Reset that we ran. At the end of this, if you're like, what's that? I want to know when the next one is. You can reach out to us. I can tell you right now, the next one will be in 2026 and not before. But as the intro will say, we are running a beautiful 5-day training that you can opt into. Now, next thing I would love to know, I could work it out, but approximately when did you join us inside the program?
Well, I started that week as part of the free trial. And then within about 3 or 4 days, I was like, it's to the kingdom, as Jeannie said.
Yeah.
About a week, I was all in July. So
I thought that was July. Okay, so July, August, September. So it's about 2.5 months.
yeah,
Does it feel like 2.5 years?
a little bit sometimes, but it's kind of one of those strange things. It feels like everything's happened in the meantime and a day's gone by at the same time.
It does. I can totally understand that. And for everyone listening, Michelle and I got the pleasure of catching up at our recent, what we call Tribe Live, where it's just, well, I just jump on and say to everyone, you want to catch up? And everyone flies in from wherever they are, tax deductible holiday. We hang out, we have some fun. So that was so cool, wasn't it?
It was great fun. Yeah, it was lovely.
It was really awesome, amazing. Okay, now that we know you started about 23 working for Kerry, you took over the business in February 2025. You joined the Busy Bookkeeper Reset 4 or 5 months after that. So just thinking out loud, you're a bookkeeper in practice, your own practice, a chapter of clients. 5 months later, you joined our reset. When you decided to join the transformation program and make that investment in yourself and your business, it can be a leap, right? What was the main reason you decided, I want to join? This is for me.
A big part of it was pipeline, because I've not had a lot of, again, not had those entrepreneurs around me. I don't have that pipeline around me. I do have a couple of accountants that I've worked with alongside Kiri, but nothing that I could see any long-term, very good prospects of getting new clients. So that was a big part of it. But then having all like the done for you SOPs, although I'm still working on those, and just having that, the community, someone to ask questions to, someone who understands what you're going through, that was sort of ideal for me, I guess. And having that step-by-step lesson plan through, how do you know what your archetype is? What's the best way to do the catch-up and rectification? And again, that's all stuff I've done through my career, but it's just nice to have that refresher and that focus and even the validation of the things that I was doing right and that I did understand. Even if it is something that's not new to me, it's like, yeah, no, that's exactly what I would have done as well. And that, you know, it's that nice feeling of, oh, I'm glad I'm not doing it the complete opposite.
Yes, critically important. I was just reading in Alex Hermosi's book. It was something along the lines of, and I was taught this also by another mentor of mine, it's just the importance of understanding the success that you're having, right? And what I'd read was something like, you're better off learning from a failure than actually not understanding why you're having the success that you're having. It's quite dangerous. And it was put to me by a mentor, goodness, 5-6 years ago, given that I didn't fully understand all parts of my success back then. So I got to that, 6-figure take-home pay, had a pipeline and everything. And yeah, I understood some of it, but I didn't really. And he said, you've got a shakeable, breakable business. So I feel like it's easy to gloss over that one and go, oh yeah, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It really matters, right? And you probably see that now that you see what is working and what is not.
Yeah, definitely understand. It's breaking down that how to, rather than the broader knowledge of, okay, I know, prepayments and accruals all day long. I know all of that stuff, the ins and outs of accounting, that's all the easy stuff. But the actual understanding that business mindset and the owner's mindset, and that's something that you just can't get as an employee, I don't think.
No, amazing. I suspect I know a few things that you get, like promises kept.
Yeah. I mean, I always did that, even as an employee.
Yeah.
As much as I could, work public holidays, work overtime. And that's part of the reason why I've had health issues, is because I will work myself to death to do a good job and to be valued and to give that value back to other people.
Yep.
Which is not necessarily a great thing. So now I'm being a bit more selfish with my time, which means that the people that I need to help, they need to value what I am doing for them. And, what price can you put on your health and your family time and your wealth and all that sort of stuff? I'd rather build it right the first time and know what's right so that I can continue what's right and prune what's wrong. And I think, I can't remember who said it, but there was someone I was listening to that was talking about killing your zombies. And that's what this is part of.
Oh, wow. It's so true that when you are doing what you're doing, so you're finally learning to put yourself first. Well, of course, that doesn't mean you break promises. It means you're setting boundaries and realizing,
correct,
if I keel over, I'm no good to anyone else. And that's how you show up as your best self for the people that you love and care about, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that includes the clients because, like I said, they're such a big part of my business and I wouldn't be here without them. And I love every one of them. Occasionally, some of them might give me the irrits a little bit if they're not putting their things through Dext or not giving me the information.
Yes.
But I still want every single one of them to succeed. And I want to be part of that success story so that I can tell those success stories and be happy for them as much as I am for myself.
I love that. Now I'd love to kind of roll into your goals and what you've achieved. So in terms of your archetype, we were chatting before pressing record and it was interesting. I thought you were booked but broken, but I now understand that really you're the growth archetype. And for everyone listening, we've got the 4 archetypes. So your startup, growing, booked but broken, or scaling. So startup, no clients, ready to launch or launching. And then when you've got clients, 1 or more, and you're growing, if you haven't joined my program, and I know this is bold to say, and this is a moment of, I guess, being proud of what we do inside the program, but let's say you're like Michelle and you haven't joined my program and you're in practice and you've got clients, 100% of bookkeepers I see, and I'll say it again, 100%, when you've got clients, you're not booked up yet, so you're not fully booked but broken, but what you tend to not know that you've got, it's a little bit of a broken business model. Like some things are working, some things aren't. So it was interesting talking to Michelle. What we know about the growth archetype is you have to act like a BBB, so fix what's broken, but you also have to act like a startup because Michelle was saying, well, I need to keep filling the pipeline. Like I need to keep creating demand because I've got to put food on the table. I've got to grow. I've got to book up my books, but yes, I know now that, say, products and pricing is broken. Yes, I know I need to fix the model. So it's a balancing act, right? What would your comments be there?
Yeah, no, definitely. But it feels weird saying that I'm startup when I've got, 60 clients.
Yeah, you've got to act like a startup, right? You've got to build a pipeline.
Yeah, that's right. So it's that startup mindset, but while still trying to manage the legacy clients and all of the booked but broken systems that have been in place. And some of it I'd already started to move towards. So again, it was that confirmation that that was the right thing to do. So basically, as soon as June rolled around and we had to do all of our re-engagements, everyone went fixed fee. I did not go to anyone having hourly. There's a few that have hourly support on top of their fixed fee, but they have their base fixed fee. And for me, that's a bit of a no-brainer because that gives me the stability that I know exactly what's going to be coming in each month as a minimum. And then project work just adds on top of that as a bit of cream on top.
Yeah, okay, great. So 2.5 months in the program, let's talk results. And I know you've got some beautiful stuff to share because, look, I'm always going to go to talking money and numbers because as the lead at the Strategic Bookkeeper, I need to make sure you get an ROI, right? Return on investment. I'm always looking at, ultimately, I love everyone to try and get that extra 100K in 6 to 12 months. Some will get there quicker, some will get there slower, and that's okay. But I love that, you have had a lot of gains in mindset, et cetera. But if we started on the money side, which I know you and I have spoken about, because I'm really excited that it seems like the program has paid for itself pretty quickly. Tell us about your goals. Tell us about kind of monetary gains that you've made and also some of the big ticket items to making those gains, whether that's pricing, advisory, both, et cetera.
Yeah. So when I first took over, I basically went, okay, if I can keep that income steady for 12 months, this is what everything's going to happen. And that was based on about 16K a month was that sort of minimum goal. If I wasn't hitting that, I was going backwards on what the business was.
Yeah, 16K
turnover. Yeah. So for July, after bringing in some of that stuff from the tribe, but also just moving everyone to fixed price, I was instantly on about, just checking here. So the recurring work was 21K. So I sort of brought in 5K extra that first month just by fixing, by streamlining. And there was a couple of new clients involved in that as well. That sort of had been floating around the pipeline previously that I was able to convert after buying the business. And then since then, I'm just having a look and my September has already gone up to 25K.
Oh, wow. So 16 to 25K. So that's almost
That's
10K
true.
extra in turnover. So we're talking a turnover increase annually of about 120K.
Correct. I'd purchased the business on vendor finance and had to pay that back. I was expecting to have either no income or a very limited salary when I sort of moved across. But I've been able to bring on my daughter to offer her a traineeship and start paying myself a salary of, between 50 and 70K just from the gains that I've had sort of thing. So, we bypassed the really tough struggle year that I was expecting for the first year, which is always helpful.
Yeah, amazing. And one of the things that you told me that I love, and I don't know how much of this you've been able to do yet, but in a second we'll talk about the network brand, something I'm not sure that I explained well enough to the community. But when Michelle joined us, when you joined us inside the transformation program, you are joining a network brand. So for example, in a nutshell, I'll try and keep it brief, you are moving from being a bookkeeper who prepares up-to-date, accurate numbers, pillar one for success, absolutely. It's the only way you can see how your business is performing, to being a certified strategic bookkeeper inside our network community. And we promote you, you get all the assets and so on. And then our advisory system that is linked to that, which is where we not only teach you how to take our beautiful, simple system of advisory and investigating the numbers and deliver it, which is what most coaches will focus on, but we give you beautiful, simple, eloquent assets and strategies to sell it. So in terms of that network brand, I know that you upgraded a DIY client. Can you tell us about that?
It wasn't so much an upgrade. It was actually up from another bookkeeper. So another bookkeeper was doing DIY work for a particular client.
Yes.
He was sort of saying he was asking questions about the figures and she wasn't getting back to him and wasn't replying any further than, her email once a month to say, these are your figures. And so he spoke to me and I explained the importance of strategy, the importance of looking into those numbers, and gave him a quote. So he's still DIY, but I'm charging 5 times the rate that she was to do the same level of work, but investigating the numbers on top of it.
Yeah. So just like we have in my practice, you've got a DIY client paying you $1,000 a month, and most bookkeepers would be like, what? No, you're not doing that. A DIY is not paying you $1,000. And then not only that, is they're not really paying you anything. Your service is free because they're going to easily make more than that, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And since then, diving into the figures, I've looked at some stuff and the file wasn't nearly as clean as, it's always that way. You open it up and you're like, there's a lot of surprises in here once I start unraveling some of these things. But, once we have that all tidy and lovely, he will have a set of financials that he can be really proud of and that will tell him the story that he needs to know to continue building. And I think he is very good at the sales side of things. And if he can have a trusted business partner, he'll go so far that it's not even funny.
Amazing. So by my calculations, you have increased your turnover, if we are looking at it annually, over 100,000, and you're seeing really good profitability gains. Michelle and I were talking before the podcast, and we know that we need to see profit going up faster than revenue. Revenue should go up, but profitability as, a percentage should be going up more. So that is fantastic. Now, what else are you getting out of the program?
Definitely learning more about what the baseline net profit should be after salary and wages and everything. And that's a big part of it. That's definitely my next focus because mine is atrocious. And if you saw it, you would probably slap me on the hand. But that does include my wage. And my wage at the moment has been a lot around strategy and building the business rather than working in the business. So I need to get my timesheets better sorted to do what I would tell my client to do, and job cost.
Yes, job costing. So because you want to put a bit of your wage into the ops cost as manager.
Correct.
Do you love the budget versus actual job costing sheet?
I haven't used it too much yet. In shame, I know.
Yeah, hide under my eyes.
This is that bit where one of the things I love about the program is you can sort of pull the pieces that are the most emergency things. So like you're pulling the parachutes as you're going. And you're always supported. And one parachute breaks, you pull the next one. And then you're sort of supported on the next one. And there's just 1,000 parachutes underneath you. And you know that they're always going to be there to help you fix the next issue that comes up. And that is my next focus is job costing. And again, it's the thing that I lecture everyone else about.
Yeah.
But it's like the plumber with the bad pipes at home.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't do mine. And as you know in the program, I say, well, until you've got staff, you can get away without it. And so now your
Yeah.
daughter might do that, right?
Potentially, I'm looking at ways to capture the time a bit more efficiently because I've
Mm-hmm.
had XPM in the past and I just find, because I've got 2 staff members, my daughter and another part-timer, and
Yeah.
trying to reliably get them to fill in the XPM with accurate information can be a bit of a struggle. So I'm looking at something that's going to build the SOPs and the checklists and track the time all in one software. And there's a few options that I've got that could potentially do that.
Can I tell you what the basics of what I do? This will be hopefully great for everyone. And it's a while since I've played at this level inside my practice, but I always used to in XPM set my team up to actually get paid from XPM. So I'd go, okay, you clock your hours in XPM and I'm going to pay you that. And so if there are hours that you are spending, then I give them a budget for, like we actually do a percentage for full timers. So it'll be like, say 10 to
20%.
Yeah, right. So then we say, look, any time that is not clocked on a client's work has to be actually approved by us to not spend on billable time. So it might be the Monday meeting that we do or something else. I actually pay wages. I used to run the timesheets, go into the payroll. As you can imagine, someone else does that now, but go into the payroll and actually clock their hours from XPM. And that way they have to do it, just if that's helpful.
It definitely would be. I'm still looking at these other systems just to try and help, but that will be then the timesheet they complete. I would not get them to do any other timesheets. That would be the one and done and they'd paid off that. And the other advantage of that is, again, job costing. So any of the admin time can go into the overheads and any of the actual client time. And that way we're not getting a false percentage of what our budget versus actual is. Because at the moment it looks atrocious, but how much of that is actually admin time that should be overhead? And once I get that out, it will probably prop that number up a little bit.
Yeah. And look, we love XPM because it's zero cost once, you know, you're a zero bronze or silver or something.
Yeah.
We're zero gold.
I've just got a strange brain that needs to work certain ways. XPM.
Yeah, but I agree. It's not ideal for what we want. So I'm going to be keenly watching what you come up with in the next 12 months.
Yeah, there's 2 that I've had a look at that could work. I mean, most of them are well-known. Carbon and Expert are 2 that I've looked at. I wasn't overly fussed on Carbon. I feel it's pretty much XPM with a few extra bells and whistles. But Account Kit also has some stuff, and I already use that in my practice for inter-entity loans, prepayments, and equipment finance. And I love it for those. So if they can do their workflows the way that it looks like they can, I think it's going to be a bit of a game changer. And they're rolling out email bursts apparently at the end of this year as well, so that you can template emails to clients. And but I've already got that covered by Efficiently anyway. So until then, it's not a big deal. But if I can roll it out, then I'll have Efficiently just for CRM and network building and, you know, doing sales for software and all that sort of stuff. And then Account Kit will be my all-in-one practice manager system. If everything goes the way that they're talking it's going to go. But software companies do tend to make a lot of promises. And
so I've got a bit of a background with software build, but I'll be keenly listening and watching for Account Kit. And for anyone that heard, I know we bookkeepers tend to hear software and be like, what was that? I'm not writing it down. What is it? Anyone that heard Efficiently, so the wonderful Kylie Gorzelka, who is one of our tribe members as well, she has the most amazing platform called Efficiently. And this is a place where you can do proposals, for example. I still use Ignition, and you can actually use both Ignition and... Do you use both Ignition and Efficiently?
I use both. But as I've said to a few people in the tribe, if I was to start out today with absolutely no clients, I would 100% run with Efficiently until I had 30 or 40 clients and needed to move across. I wouldn't worry about the lower levels of Ignition because the few things that you have to do manually in Efficiently, such as setting up the recurring invoices and setting up the Stripe payment, aren't that big a deal if you're starting out. But moving 35 clients across to it when they're already set up and running smoothly on Ignition just is not worth the headache.
No, it's not exactly. I have to say I would probably be the same as you. And for everyone listening, Efficiently at the Strategic Bookkeeper, I've ended up kind of saying, like, I thought it was a nice to have. It's almost a must have. It sets you up a website in there. It handles all your marketing, social media. Like, it's extraordinary. But if anyone listening, even if you're not in our program, You can email us hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global and ask for an introduction to Kylie and Efficiently, or you can Google Efficiently with an O and you can find Kylie there. So if you're inside the tribe, she puts our proprietary intellectual property into it. And if you're outside it, even she works with lawyers, etc., all pro kind of services, she can set that up and it's made on the Go High Level platform.
Yeah, and it takes over from so many software too. So you don't have to have MailChimp and Calendly and all these other different systems that kind of talk to each other, but not fully. It sort of just takes all of that off your hands.
Yeah, I mean, Go High Level has taken the world by storm, and this is a Go High Level reseller really, but she's created a full platform for bookkeepers. So
her support is next level.
Yeah, the support that I'm like, you just buy this like free help, especially inside the tribe because she's got all the tribe-based stuff. Tuesday in coaching, I'm like, if I was you, I'd be running to Kylie Gozelka. So yeah, if efficiently sounds extraordinary, it is. Okay, so I'd love for you just to share, just listening to the tiny bit you told me, how you feel about what you get out of the program in terms of mindset and community was really heartwarming, and I'd just love to hear about that.
Yeah. So mindset has always been a struggle for me. Obviously, growing up poor, without father, had a lot of self-esteem issues, undiagnosed neurodivergent, just, grew up most of my life with suicidal ideations, depression, had PMDD, like the list of things that I had as issues growing up. It's a wonder I made it as far as I did.
Wow.
And so I've always had a very negative mindset. And this is something that I've worked on before the tribe, but the tribe definitely helps with the business side of mindset and that growth mentality and the wealth mentality and being okay to say, I am worth this amount of money. It is worth that for my time when it's going to be my health otherwise, or it's going to be worth something else otherwise. Like, what am I giving up for this time? And, a wage doesn't necessarily cut it anymore once you get to a certain point. Not saying that I'm better than anyone who's earning a wage, but I can't sacrifice my health to have to go into the office every day. I need to have the ability to go have a nap in the middle of the day if I need to and work until 3 a.m. if that's how it works for me. I'm not saying I don't put in the hours. I just put them in at my leisure, and I'll work the weekends if I need to and then take Tuesday off to go get my nails done.
Me too. I love that flexibility, right?
Yeah.
On Monday and Tuesday, I worked from quite early morning till 10 o'clock at night, but then I've gone slow-mo Wednesday, Thursday. Like, I don't function well in 8:30 till 5 in an office. Like, no, thank you. So
100% the same. I mean, I had the TENS machines and all the different medications and everything to try and get me through the day, and being able to not use those and just have a nap instead is amazing. Yes. The other thing with the tribe is just the support from everyone. Like, I'm a huge believer, and I always have been, in the rising tide lifts all boats. And that is definitely the mentality that I've got from the tribe. And because they're such a wonderful group of women and men, even though it is largely women, it gives you that ability that if you're having a down day, you can go on there and say, oh, this client's doing this, how would you treat this? Or like I said, with Linda Hall, this is the software I'm considering. What software are you considering? Hey, let's have the meetings together so we can both bounce our questions off them and get the most amount of value, because we're attacking it from two different viewpoints. And just that ability to have those conversations with people who get it. And it's not just another business owner, it's specifically another bookkeeper. And I think some people might look at it and think, well, aren't you all just competition? But I don't see it that way, because there'll be clients that I don't want that aren't good for me that'll be a good fit for someone else. And like I said, I'm just not a big person in competition anyway. I mean, there's how many small businesses in Australia, and there's not that many bookkeepers, especially not strategic ones who do go above and beyond the numbers.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'm glad you're using the tribe that way, because I always say it's your tribe, It's like, off you go, create groups, catch up with one another, do the things, do the talks. So it's always great for me, because it was a big vision from the beginning, and I knew there would be this incredible power in it. And now watching the offshoots and, everybody catching up and role playing and doing all the things has been amazing. Okay, as we come towards the end of the podcast, one thing we touched on before we pressed record was that originally you wanted to grow 10%. Was that month on month rather than 10% for the year?
I think I had it 10% across the year. So each month she grew that enough so that it was 10% across the year. And that was probably me being down on myself a little bit. So again, not having that growth mindset, I kind of went like, hey, if I can get 10%, that's going to be huge. Whereas now I'm like, what is the number that I need? Because again, it's not necessarily higher turnover. It's definitely higher profit, but it's also not unreasonable to think that I could do another 20% with the same amount of hours and help more people out, or 30%. You know, it's kind of shifted my mindset again, that changing to what is the limit? Is there a limit? Do I just put 20% in as a goal and try and shoot even higher than that, or 50% in as a goal and shoot even higher than that? That's the sort of place I'm coming back to now. Well, trying to be realistic still.
Because you've gone from just shy of 200,000 a year tracking annually to 300 based on your 16 to 25 a month. So you've already achieved a 33% growth over a 10% growth. I just definitely want to encourage you to, you know what I say, we can never exceed our own expectations of ourselves. I think 100% growth is something. And also, like, I've got some really big goals at the moment. And because I've been taught that if we set really big, but what seems like crazy, but possible, if we set those goals, then the data is we're likely to overshoot a little bit in terms of our big goal, but the longer term we undershoot and we'll often, you know, do better. So I think definitely reach for the stars to land on the moon goes the saying. I think for you, if you've already achieved 2.5 months in 33% growth, I think 100% growth is very achievable.
And see, this is exactly the sort of mindset stuff that I was talking about, because I'd be sitting there going like, well, maybe if I grow another 20%, and Jeannie's like, no, 100%, 200%, get there.
That's exactly right. Yeah, to me, that seems totally achievable. There are so many more questions I could ask you, but I think what we'll do, I'm going to ask you a few final questions. One will be, can you give me 3 parts of the program that you feel like I love those parts?
Social media, 100%. The assets for social media have been huge. I basically just threw them all into my Canva, threw them at my daughter, said, make them ours and go for it.
Fantastic.
So that's definitely been a big one.
Yep.
I mean, the $1 Million Storybook, having that as something that I've now downloaded and, you know, been able to share and everything like that. And the coaching's just been huge. Again, even if it's just listening in and hearing other people and being like, that's exactly the thing that I've been struggling with, but I haven't been able to put it in words, or, you know, oh, I think I can help out with that in a different way. So let's have a chat about that.
Amazing. So social media assets, I haven't had someone say that one on the podcast before, and I think they're amazing. $1 Million Storybook brochure, my personal favorite. And the coaching, that's why we do so much coaching now, because everyone says it's so impactful. What do you think life would be like without the program?
Lonely, I think. I would be sitting here probably banging my head against the wall a bit, probably leaning on the former owner a lot more than I have been. And she's off in another business doing her own thing. So I don't want to disturb her too much to be like, hey, what do you think about this software? Or what do you think about that? It's nice to have someone else to bounce that off. And someone who is interested in growing their bookkeeping business, because as I said, she was very burnt out towards the end. And I think that brings a lot of negativity to it. And I want to make sure I'm keeping things positive. And, you know, a couple of times I've sort of said something to her and she's like, oh, that's what you get for being a business owner. And it's like, I like that I'm a business owner, even if that is a bit of a drain. And obviously she got too drained out by it and didn't have that passion anymore by the time she left. So it's nice talking to other people who have that passion to grow. And it would be very lonely without it.
When you say about, you know, she was burnt out, but you're building a smarter practice, and that's why 100%. You won't have to burn out, right?
No,
but I love,
like I said, I'm trying to go proactive rather than reactive, and that's already worked. Like we've already got to the end of month going, oh, we've got nothing to do. All of our BASs are done. Whereas previously it was like the last day, the next BAS would be being lodged, you know, and then the BASs would come out again.
Do you know everyone will be listening going, sorry, what? Oh, that's amazing. And when you said lonely, I have to say, I reflect on my first year in practice and what I felt was alone, you know, please someone help me. So I love that you named that, because I'm 16 years in and I haven't felt lonely for a long time. And that's exactly what I felt. I love you naming that. So if bookkeepers out there are sitting on the fence, right, and wondering, should I join? And also having that bookkeeper's curse of just decision paralysis, which comes from a place of perfectionism and all the stars have to align or I can't do it and I'll make a wrong decision, right? Do you know that one?
That's exactly where I'm sitting for the stops at the moment, and exactly why I'm going back and forth on 3 different software and jumping between them and trying to work out, because, you've got to get it right the first time.
Yeah, perfectionism, right? But then I do think sometimes if you're going to sweat the small stuff, the one place you have to do it is standard operating procedures, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I say it's one place where it's like, you can sweat the small stuff. But what would you say to someone on the fence about joining or wondering if they should join?
I would say join the trial at least. Like I said, within a week of being on the trial, I was like, yes, I want the keys to the kingdom. I want the assets. I want everything. Give me it all.
Yeah.
But if you're not sure, give it a go and listen to the archetypes conversation and just listen to a few of the things. And if it doesn't change your mind, maybe it's not right for you, because it's not going to be right for everyone, because not everyone's going to have the mindset to want to grow and want to take on that wealth mentality and that the tribe life, so to speak.
Yes,
because it is something that's a bit different to what normal bookkeepers would have. And for the ones that get it, they're going to get it, and it's going to be worth every single minute, every single dollar.
Yeah, I love that you said the trial. I think that's great advice. If you come in on the trial and you get started with that induction, archetype induction, customer journey, I love the customer journey, and really have a look around to give yourself that space to just feel like, yes, this is the right thing for me, is ideal. And if you feel like you're going to the website and you can't find what this trial is all about, please just shoot us an email and say, I listened to the podcast. What is this all about? Okay, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, sharing your story, allowing me to find out so much, and also allowing our listeners to find out all of this as well and learn so much for you. Thank you so much.
I keep forgetting that someone else is going to be listening and it's not just a conversation.
That is good. That is really good. Oh, thank you so much. And I'll see you soon in coaching.
Thank you for having me. Yes, definitely will.
Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So what are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got 2 options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.